You mentioned a few things, but you break down, as you mentioned, the 8 practices. Could you delve into some of those more? What are some of your favorites that you could share with
Um,
us?
I think one of my big favorites is share more of yourself, and this is really focused at leaders. I think we don't always share, about what's going on in our lives. And I'm not suggesting people. I will get the question when I talk about, oh, so you're suggesting that the line between like employer and employee is gone. I'm not suggesting that at all. That line is still there. If you've got something messy going on in your life, that's not something that I would recommend sharing. But I think sharing experiences that you had that have formed an opinion of yours or formed the way you react to things, I think is really important for people to understand. And they're never going to understand everything because you're not going to share everything. But I think the more glimpses you can give them, your employees or even peers, or your boss in that case, into you as a human and how you're hardwired and why you are the way you are, why you react the way you do, I think is really important. I think connecting through story is important too. And again, storytelling is this age old, it's been around for eons, passing down history and information from generation to generation to generation to generation. And I think it's still important. I think, when the speakers I resonate most with are those that are telling me a story about something that went on, and then kind of pulling through the threads they want to pull through and get those points across in their keynote or their panel or whatever it may be. And so listening to that and connecting through storytelling. And I think it's interesting when I was at Indeed and I would tell stories about whether it was, my struggles with OCD or my mom was killed in a car accident 30 plus years ago, and tell that story about how I understand. Like, I would always talk about the employee assistance program in the States as a benefit we give. And it was very helpful to me when my mom was killed. You find so many people like that you haven't necessarily connected with. When you're the head of HR, they all know you. Like, they all knew who I was. I didn't know all 12,000 of them. But when I would tell those stories in different settings, in the appropriate settings, I'd have people that were, folks that I didn't know, sales folks in our London office, sales folks in our German office, and our Tokyo office, reach out, and it's like I had something similar that went on, and there was this new connection that was made, and I understood them a little bit better, and they understood me a little bit better. I think those are the two that kind of stick out the most for me. There are 8 of them that we go through in the book, but I think it's just, how you make these new and deeper connections with human beings as a leader and as a person is really important.
Yeah,